Hello folks, I'm going to do another rendition of my bleeding shad that I had made in my last video. This last week I had an awesome opportunity. Had a sister-in-law and her husband and their son came and had an opportunity to take Cameron fishing. Cameron and I sure enjoyed our time together, young man. And Cameron got to catch his first crappie. He got to catch his first sand bass, and he got to catch his first hybrid striper. So he had a great day. It was extremely hot here in August, but it was a wonderful time we had. And Cameron, I sure enjoyed it. You come back to see me. So I just tied one of these, but I want to show you what I did. It's a smaller hook than what I did my bleeding shad previously. The ones that I had made earlier, I gave them to a friend last week while we were working on some hunting things and did a little fishing, and I wound up gave them away. So I'm using a number 10 wet nymph hook on these bleeding shad. A little smaller hook. I have wrapped about a fourth of it with lead wire. I'm using black thread and going to be using white marabou. And I'm using the black thread just first of all as a base to cover the lead wire. And to keep it in place, I want to keep it locked back down toward the bend of the hook. And I'm gonna let me get this wrapped right quick. I don't want to bore you with the time takes of hiding the tags and all, but get a good base of thread, and then I take my marabou, white marabou, and I did this a little different. I'm going to try this again. I took just some of the fluff of it as a starter. Wanted it not real long, but tie that on top. Just wrap it good. I'm going to cut that, get rid of that tag on there. Then I'm going to take and turn my vise over, and so I could put some on the bottom. But I'm also not only going to do that, but I'm going to take my red embroidery thread. I'm going to cut a little extra here because I want to tie that underneath. Well, that's what happens whenever you try to do things backwards. Well, we saved it. I thought I was going to have to redo it completely. So I'm going to tie that red underneath. It's going to be kind of hard to tie because the bend of the hook is going to want to mess with the way it lays, but I'm going to spread it so it'll go on both sides, some on each side of the barb. And then I'm going to cut that tag a little bit long because I want it to show up in the body. That gives it that bleeding effect. And then I'm going to take some more of the marabou, and I'm going to take part of the side down. I'm going to bunch that up kind of close, and I'm going to lay that underneath the underside of the hook, wrap it, like unto that, and I just cut off the remainder of that tag. I'll tell you, it was It was a very hot week, but having family here and an opportunity to go fishing and teach this young man a little bit of the things that I practice, not what I know, because that's not very much, but getting to show him how to catch a crappie. Hopefully he can come back and do that again. He lives in an area where there's not much water, and it's very dry area, and so he's I guess you could say he lives in the heart of the fishing capital of the world. He can go 500 miles in any direction to good fishing, and that may be several places, but like that around the country. Let me take the hook out of here. We need to look at this. I'm not sure that it's working properly, but I need to take it out of the vise. Okay, that will work because the red is down amongst the white. So we're going to put that back in the vise, and we're going to go ahead and tie it like that. I told him, I said, you can leave your mom and dad home. You can come fishing without them. He kind of smiled and thought that'd be a good idea. So maybe one of these days he'll be knocking on the door and saying he's ready to go fishing. Now, I'm using black thread, and right here in front of the body, the black and the white is kind of mixed, and it flares out. The white tags of the marabou stick out a little bit, so that kind of gives it a gray look, kind of like what a shad would have in the body. So we'll pull. I left a little red tag, but I want that for the bleeding effect. I'm going to take and tie that back down so that it won't be too much out. Then I'm going to take one more longer bit of marabou, and I'm going to tie it. I want it to string out the back of the jig a little longer, just to give it that semblance of the tail of the minnow, of the shad. And like I say, I'm leaving a little bit of the marabou showing with the red. And then after I do this, so I got the lead wire down underneath, and just for weight, because I want it to go down a little bit. And I think that, you know, minnows have eyes. They may not be this big, but he may be a bug-eyed shad. But I think with his eyes being added to it, it'll give it also not only a little weight, but it will give it a little more of the reflection and the glitter for the fish to see. So we just figure 8 that on there. We're going to tie it pretty heavy because I want a bit of black showing around the eyes, front and back. But I don't want the eyes to turn on us. So with that, they're good and stationary. They're not going to be moving. They're going to stay on the hook like I want them. And so we'll just do that real good. We'll get our little whip tool, and we'll whip that knot on there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That may not be enough. 5 or 6. That may not be enough. I don't know what the professionals recommend, but for my fly tying, 5 works pretty good. Let's put another couple of 3 on there just so it doesn't come loose. 2, 3, 4, 5. One more for good measure. I don't think if I was trying to tie that perfect fly for that trout up in the mountains in Montana or Wyoming, wherever, Colorado, wherever you might be fishing, I might try to do a little more perfect job of it. But in murky water, I think it will work great for a crappie. Okay, folks, let's pull that out of the vise, inspect it a little bit. Got the bleeding showing underneath. Let's get it there where you can see it. Showing the red, looks like maybe a rendition of a little bleeding. The body is black and white, gives it that gray look. Got the eyes. It is kind of heavy, so we're going to give that a try. I'm going to let you know how this works. Have a blessed day.